Hello my beautiful plant people, it's Valerie from Terracotta Treasures, and today I'm going to be talking to you a bit about pothos. So I have 4 varieties of pothos with me right now to show you guys, and the first one is the beautiful golden pothos. Beautiful green foliage with that golden variegation. And then I have the Pothos Enjoy. And look at her little first trail. I'm so proud of her. And the trail's even got some new growth. You can see it there. Beautiful, beautiful leaves. The Enjoy is actually definitely one of my favorites. This one and the Marble Queen here actually are battling for the #1 spot. But here she is, the Marble Queen, and she is gorgeous, guys. Yes, look at her leaves. Oof. Okay. So then last but definitely not least, I have this Pothos Silver Splash. And the leaves are actually fuzzy, and they have this beautiful silver spotting to them. And there's also a very similar variety, the Satin Pothos, and it has much more of the silvery leaves, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Don't mind his little yellow leaf here. I was a bad plant mom and I forgot a watering or two. Honestly guys, I probably would have pulled him out by now, but he's connected to this cute little baby growth here. These guys are super slow growers, but he's kind of kicking out, if you can kind of see. A little bit of new growth at least. I have to be honest with you guys, pothos are one of my very favorite plants. I absolutely love trailing and vining plants, and they're super easy to care for, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So a little fun fact for you guys, all the varieties of pothos, and I mean like almost any houseplant really, are great for purifying the air in your home. However, NASA did a pretty big study on which plants recycle and clean your air in your house the most. And the #1 plant that took toxins in and kicked out nice clean oxygen was the golden pothos. So if you're looking to get plants to purify the air in your home, this is your man right here. He is your man. I find that pothos grow best as an indoor plant, mainly because they burn quite easily from the harsh direct sunlight. They do prefer fairly bright indirect sunlight, and they can for sure tolerate low light conditions. Just know that they'll put up with it, but it's not guaranteed they're living their best life. Also too, they can be grown in both water and soil. However, just keep in mind a few things when choosing to have your pothos water bound. First off, it will grow well, but not nearly as quickly as it would in soil. Secondly, while pothos do well in both conditions, they usually don't do well being switched. If they were originally growing in soil and then you put them into water, they actually have a high chance of rotting. And also the other way around, they just tend to have a bit of a hard time adjusting. I do have one tip for you guys though. If you have a pothos already that has been growing in soil and you just really want to have another hydroponically grown pothos, you can always propagate and take cuttings from the plant you already have, and instead of transferring it to soil when it grows roots and is ready to be potted up, just keep it in the water and keep changing the water frequently. Like once a week or so, maybe a little bit sooner if you are seeing that the water is getting a little bit gross. And honestly, they'll hardly ever have an issue staying in the water. This has been the only method that worked for me for growing my pothos strictly in water, so maybe, just maybe, it'll work for you too. I don't know. But while we're still on the subject of water, when you're growing these beauties in soil, you're going to want to choose a medium to well-draining soil and water only when they dry out. A good rule of thumb for any houseplant really is just stick your finger about 2 inches deep, or about to your middle knuckle line right here, and just feel the soil inside of your plant. And for the most part, you can kind of feel whether your soil is dry or if it's still a little bit moist. But if you can't really tell by feeling, just know that if you stick your finger in and it comes out and there's still a bit of soil that's stuck to your finger, it's still a little bit moist. So you want to make sure that when you stick your finger in and you pull it back out, there's pretty much nothing on your finger. And at that point, she's dry and she needs to be watered. How I get a pretty well to moderate draining soil is I just mix 1 part cactus soil mix and 1 part just regular potting soil mix. And that seems to give me a pretty moderate drainage. And then I also water once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, depending on how dry they are at that 1 week mark. And I've had a pretty good success with that so far. When choosing a pot for your pothos, they really need a pot with good drainage, at least 1 hole at the bottom. As you can see, these ones aren't the best with drainage, but they do have that 1 little hole right here, so it's something at least, right? But anywho, they also need to be in a pot appropriate for the size of the plant that it is. You don't want a really small plant in a large pot because it's going to hold more moisture than the plant actually needs, and pothos do rot pretty easily when growing in soil that isn't draining well. They do not like to sit and kill my neon pothos from overwatering. Rest in peace, my beautiful little neon guy. I feel so bad, but basically I overwatered it, unfortunately, just 1 time. And what happened was I went in my sunroom and I went to go water all my plants, my weekly water routine. And normally I will let them sit for like 20 minutes or so, because if the topsoil is dry and water collects in that bottom drip tray, I'll usually let them sit to let the roots soak up as much water as they can. And then after about 20 minutes or so, I'll check back on them and I'll dump that excess water. But this time I forgot all about her and she was left alone, drowning in standing water. And I even tried to take cuttings and they unfortunately didn't even survive. But you know, what can you do? You live and you learn. As far as fertilizer goes, I actually feel like pothos really don't need to be fertilized very often at all. They seem to be able to vine and trail effortlessly without any help, and really as long as they're given the right water and the right lighting conditions, they're going to live their best life for you. I will say though, however, just to give them like a little tiny extra boost once a year or so, usually during the spring, I will fertilize with Miracle Grow brand liquid houseplant fertilizer. And any liquid houseplant fertilizer you use, you want to use like a 10-10-10, 15-15-15, something where all 3 of the numbers are the same number, if that makes sense. You'll see it on the bottle. And then if I don't use that, I will use the Miracle Grow houseplant sticks, and they're just little blue sticks that you stick down into the soil a couple inches or so, and then they'll slowly fertilize them. And both are really cheap. The liquid fertilizer, I think I paid probably like $4 or so, and it stands about yay high, so it's not that bad for the price at all. And then the sticks come with like, I want to say 20-ish sticks for 99 cents. Like, you can't beat that. These are just 4 varieties that I have here, but there are quite a few others. I'll actually share some photos at the end of a few more varieties that I know of and plan on adding to my collection. And if you guys happen to know of any other varieties that I haven't included, please make sure to comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, my beautiful planet people.